What's going on, guys? Quick update video. Very boring red choppy day for AMC today. I called for $10 yesterday. I said 100% we will see $10 for AMC today. We did not see that. Am I a melon for that? Perhaps. It's unlikely though. It looks like I was a day off on the symmetrics, and I'll get into that on the tracking and everything, but it doesn't change anything. You know, these videos are titled Chop for a reason, because we should be chopping right now in this range. Tracking wise, that's what we want to see. We want to be chopping in this range, fighting to claim the 20 EMA. As I've said over and over, the videos are titled Chop for a reason. Chop part 5 today. Tracking perfectly, it looks great. It looks like I was one day off on the symmetrics of the move, the iteration that we're tracking through right now. Retesting all day today, retesting the breakout. I'll get into that in a little bit, but you know, jumping into the video, and we'll start with the flat portion. I'm not going to drag this video out either. It should be a quick one. So here's the flat portion side by side. I'm not going to really run through everything today. I just did it yesterday. There's really no need. Just updating the date range, you know, 14 days away now, 14 days away from being 1-to-1. Having just came down to our third bottom all-time low landmark that you saw in January right here. The pop off and then the pullback chopping above the range is where we are now. The pop off, third bottom all-time low, the pop off, the pullback chopping for the range. That's it. 14 days off 1-to-1. Once again, day 342 of 342 is 1-to-1, which is earnings. Lands November 8th. This looks amazing. I'm not going to really go through this. I just did it yesterday. Here is the tracking zoomed in compared to January. So here's your third bottom all-time low in January. Your third bottom all-time low in the current cycle. The cup out, pullback, W, pullback, W, the move up, and then again pulling back, establishing support on the previous range. So just chopping here on top of the previous range as support. And over here, same thing, pulling back and chopping on top of the previous range as support. I mean, again, you know, we're on Chop part 5 now of these videos. Look at the price action, very choppy price action sideways in this range, which is what it should be, you know, just tracking wise to January. This is what we should see, is Chop sideways here, establishing support on the previous resistance. So no complaints there. You know, getting into the daily now, and I mentioned this a few times, the iteration that we are playing out right now is exactly what we saw previously. The level below us, coming off of the third bottom all-time low, this pop and this pullback, very choppy sideways price action here before you broke out, retested, and then we had that 2-week bull run to the upside before pulling back again, and then again, very choppy, very sideways in this range, fighting for the 20 EMA that you see here in white. Which we should be. I mentioned 2 months ago that this would happen. The price action would eventually meet the 20 EMA here, and we would fight to claim it before we get January 15th and the end of the macro. So this looks good. Yesterday was the breakout move. We actually retested this trend yesterday, end of day, which is why I was calling for $10 today, assuming that we would bounce off. But it turns out that all day today, we just continued to retest the trend, which is fine. So let's get into that now. Getting into the symmetry of this move now, and we'll start with this. So this is zoomed out. The zoomed out symmetry of this move. So here's your third bottom all-time low, the pop off, then the pullback, very choppy sideways price action here. Here's your descending trend. Here's the breakout, the retest, and then the bounce off and the bull run up to the top, and then again pulling back, very sideways choppy here. Here's your breakout, here's your retest. Now I just mentioned previously that yesterday we broke out, which we did. This was the high of the day yesterday, 995, I believe. That was the breakout move. And then end of day yesterday, we came all the way back down to test the trend, and then bounced off into after hours, started curling up. I assumed that this was the retest confirmed, and that we would just see upside today. But instead, we came down even lower, which is fine, and continued to retest this trend. It looks great. You know, just looking at this side by side, here's your third wick down, the lowest one that we saw previously. You got this fake out, and then you come down and get the actual break, and then you come down, bounce on that white line, which is also retesting the trend here sideways, and then you have a few wicks below it here, breaking down again to retest. Multiple wicks here, retesting this trend before you bounce off into the bull run. And that's the same thing we have over here. So the fake out, then the breakout, the pullback for the retest, bounce off, and then coming even lower to retest, and then end of day today bounced off. Looks good. No complaints. I'm expecting upside. I'm expecting upside tomorrow. We'll just leave it at that. So getting into it zoomed in now, side by side. Here it is. I went over this yesterday. All the landmarks are there still. And here we go. So, this is the breakout move right here. And then coming down to retest, just a descending retest on both sides. And this is not uncommon. We've seen this type of retest on AMC. It happens all the time where you're chopping in a range, whatever pattern you're playing out, whether it's a descending triangle, ascending triangle, descending wedge, getting pinched down between support and resistance all the way to the end. You break out and the retest ends up being pretty much at the lows of the range. We see this time and time again. A perfect example is the macro breakout and retest. This is the macro descending wedge, the 3-year long descending wedge. Here's the breakout move, and then you have a descending resistance pinching you down to the retest. And you end up retesting pretty much at the lows before you break out and see upside. So, and this is just showing the trend. So this was the previous iteration, descending wedge here, and the current iteration, descending wedge here, the breakout, and then you have just multiple wicks down, lower and lower retesting in a descending wedge before you break out, and then you get the rest of the upside, 2 weeks of just straight green. That's what we're looking for. There's really not much to say about today. You just continue to retest this trend here. This descending trend that we were pinched down, I don't know, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, broke out of it yesterday, retested it yesterday, continued retesting and held up today, bounced off end of day. Here's your descending resistance. I'm expecting upside tomorrow. And the upside landmark that we're looking for, and I'm going to say it again, and I don't want to hear shit, but the upside landmark that we're looking for bouncing off of this retest is $10 plus. I was assuming that we were going to get this move today. We didn't end up getting it today. We just continued to retest, which if you look at this side by side, it actually makes sense. So here's your third bottom. It's a very roundish move, the breakout retest, and a descending retest, and then over here, same thing. Third bottom, the lowest wick, as it was over here, and a very roundish move here, the breakout, and then the descending retest, descending wedge. Looking for the break out of this, assuming that we break out of this early tomorrow morning. It's possible we see a down spike at open tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised. See it all the time. This was actually a down spike at open. This is the beginning candle of, I believe it's October 4th. I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday. This is the open candle though, the red one here. Down spike at open, retest the trend again, and then you break out of the retest trend, and then that starts the bull cycle upward. So it's possible we see a down spike at open tomorrow. It's possible we don't. And in saying that, it's possible we come a few cents lower than the low of the day today. It shouldn't be anything drastic though. It should not break $9 whatsoever. And we should see upside. We should see upside tomorrow. So that's pretty much it for the video. Next landmark symmetrically we're looking for is 10 plus. Yes, we didn't see it today, and yes, I'm expecting to see it tomorrow. Barring that we get pinched down here, which I just don't think will be the case in this wedge here, just getting pinched down lower and lower. I don't think that'll be the case. Expecting upside. Really not much to say about today. Very boring day. That's it. Figured I would upload quick, give my thoughts. Nothing has changed. Just a very sideways choppy day. Chop part 5. Tomorrow will be chop part 6, or maybe I'll change the title if we actually start the uptrend, which we should. But it looks great. No complaints. Everything looks great. Once again, 14 days away now from being 1-to-1. 1-to-1 lands on earnings November 8th. This looks amazing. The timing of this, it's very strange. It's very strange. I was thinking about this last night, actually, after I made my video. The way the flat portion played out and the time it took to play it out. Maybe it's, a reset pattern for the algo. Just a reset pattern into the bull cycle. The flat portion, possibly, potentially. The fact that it's playing out perfectly, the movement and the date range on it is pretty much 1-to-1, leads me to believe that this is not by accident. So 14 days away from being 1-to-1, landing on November 8th earnings. And that is pretty much it. Once again, it looks great. I was off an iteration. Micro tracking wins again. I'm not going to be perfect day to day on micro tracking. Lately, I've been pretty spot on. If I would just say so myself, I've been pretty spot on lately on the micro. Today I was not, and I'm expecting upside tomorrow. There's nothing else to say. It looks amazing. It looks great. All the landmarks are there. The movement looks perfect. We're playing out this iteration exactly how we saw right underneath us, the previous range right below us. Playing out the same iteration on top of this range as support now before we get the next leg up that you see here. And again, the uptrend out of this, so once this retest confirms here, as we saw previously, the uptrend out of this, see we're retesting here, the uptrend out of this is likely going to look very similar to what we saw here. So that is pretty much it for the vid. Potentially an update video tomorrow. If we see 10 plus, I'll definitely make an update video tomorrow. I'm expecting 10 plus tomorrow. Does it have to happen tomorrow? No, it doesn't. It's possible we just start the upside. We're looking for this move here, which is $10 plus. It's above the previous spike that you see here. So that would be 10 plus. And then this would probably be your 10.5 to 10.7 on Friday. And then this would be next week. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, the bulk of this uptrend would likely play out next week, leading up until earnings November 8th. That's it. Catch you guys in the next vid.